Carl and John are with us from Parker and Snell, talking all about this new production. I say new production because, Carl, I mean, this is not the musical, first of all. Let's get that out there. This is not the musical because, of course, it didn't start as a musical. But you're doing something very new with it again. Just tell us a bit of the backstory of this.
Yeah, so obviously, basically, the Les Mis was written as a novel in 1862 by Victor Hugo. And then it became, the very first time it became a drama was 1863, a year later, when his son Charles Hugo turned it into the first stage adaptation. So from then, you're talking about 120 years before it became the musical. It was countless adaptations of stage plays, films, TV series, international, domestic, and so on. So, and we're here with a new adaptation for the Gaiety.
And this is, I mean, you say new adaptation. This is your adaptation. Where do you even start?
Good point.
I think why is probably the point. At some points, you probably thought at times 1,300 pages of book to adapt.
I think what it was, I mean, the beauty of the fact that there is film versions and there is stage plays, so I did a lot of research, obviously read the novel firstly, but then looked at the films, what they did in the early film. It was a 1935 film with Charles Lawston, in it, fantastic English actor back then. And, generally most of the adaptations from the research look kind of like Charles Hugo's adaptation. So the musical version is virtually the same as the drama versions in terms of what scenes they've selected and how they've got the spine of the story and so on. So with this, because what I try to do is obviously you could do Les Mis over 6 hours. It's because it's such an epic, part 1, part 2. But I thought, well, ideally it'd be best to try and get it under 2 hours. I think 2 hours, 2 hours, 10 minutes. So it's not people are sat there for 3 hours. So I've been very selective in terms of the research I've done. What are the best bits of Les Mis? What are the best bits of each adaptation? And thought, okay, I'll put those scenes together in order. And then it was a question of going through each adaptation, back to the novel, back to the films, back to the drama, and then just piecing it all together. So I really wanted to do is just try and get the best of the best into this adaptation, because a lot of the other adaptations that are out there are still brilliant, but they're quite dated. And a lot of the inspiration I got for this adaptation was from the BBC, and it was the BBC version that was released in 2018. That's when I actually first thought, I'd like to do this as a drama. And I did start to read other adaptations. I thought, it's okay, it's not too bad. But then I thought, well, why not just put something together myself? So
needs Parker's pen.
We'll see.
Well, I mean, John Walker, I mean, this is, as we've been talking about this off air, I mean, it is an incredible achievement to adapt
Phenomenal.
this one more time. You're in the middle of reading the book itself.
Yes.
I mean, it's an extraordinary story and it's so powerful. There's so many different themes in there.
The overarching theme that we've been talking about, because the way that we approach productions, because there's many, many productions we've done together over the years, is to start with what's the heart of the story. Each story, it's not a blank sheet of paper, but what can we bring that's fresh? With a story that's been around since 1862 and countless productions over the years, what can we bring that's new, that's different, that's giving an honest portrayal that people will take something from, both people that are new to the story. So I'd never read Les Mis before. I'd never seen the musical. I'd never watched any of the drama versions. This is the first time for me approaching the story. And there are other people who've known it for decades and read it regularly or have seen the musical. What can we bring that everyone will get something from that? And it's an incredibly powerful story. It's very dark at times, but each character we found has their own arc. There's a period of it's obviously truth and justice, social injustice, and the whole theme Les Miserables is the wretches, the individuals at the bottom of society that suffer the most as a result of the actions. It's a sort of historical fiction. So you start in 1815, works its way through right to 1832 and the revolution at that point. But each character starts from a moment of darkness and moves into the light. And each character, whether that's Jean Valjean, whether that's Javert, whether that's perhaps less so Fantine, unfortunately. It's probably the only character that doesn't have that arc, but she gets that through her daughter Cosette. Even Thénardier has his moments of very, very dark, incredibly dark, right through to light. And it's been a fascinating process. The difficulty, you always find there's not enough time. You could spend so much time discussing it, working through it. It's 1,300 pages, the book. There's whole sections of the story we have to put to one side. But as Carl said, it's getting the best bits and the bits that we feel are the truest sense of the story that we can portray.
I would think as well, Carl, that for people who are fans who've only seen the musical or the film, what a brilliant way for them to experience these characters' journeys in more depth and more detail. And because you do fall in love with the characters, mainly because it's such emotional journeys that each of them go on, you really get attached to them, don't you? So to actually have the opportunity to learn more about them in this way, brilliant experience.
Yeah, because I actually think that that if you watch the stage play, I mean, some people may have seen the BBC drama, and that for me enriched what I've seen from the musical, because the musical is obviously sung from start to finish, and likewise with this play version, it's episodic in nature, the same as the musical. But I think obviously when it's spoken word and it's acted and it's the emotion of it and it's the dialogue, then you get more detail than what you get in the musical. I mean, the musical is a phenomenon in and of itself. I know someone said to me the other day, "Is it going to be as good as the musical?" And I said, "Well, I mean, for me personally, I think it's the wrong question to ask, because the musical is such a phenomenon. Nothing's going to touch that. But it's to do with what a drama can actually bring on stage in the spoken word of it. And as I've said in our marketing of the show, that if you like the story and you like the characters, you like the events and the circumstances that they all go through, then this is a way of experiencing it in a different medium, and that's all it is. And I would preface this now that if you only know the musical, if you only like the musical, and you only want the music, then this is not a show for you.
Yeah.
But obviously, if you're on the other side, because a lot of people I've spoken to have said, "Oh, I love the novel, love the story." So maybe, I mean, because even Liam Neeson did a film, in '98, I think it came out. Geoffrey Rush played Javert. And some people have referenced other adaptations that they have seen, and they said love to see it. But there are people, and I completely understand that. So I only want the musical. I couldn't possibly watch a drama of Les Mis without the music, and I completely understand that, and that's why we've obviously been completely transparent and open as much as possible. This has got no Les Mis music whatsoever.
This is the drama.